The top review is Infinity Castle X and then Infinity Flashbacks check mark.
Man, I saw someone say, you don't want to use pee breathing. Like, that's not, there ain't no technique for that. Does that make Zenitsu Chris Paul?
I have no idea.
Demon Slayer brought to you by Yakult.
This might be a hot take, but I'd give it...
Whoa! Okay, spicy. You heard it here first. And welcome back to another episode of Pinoys versus the World. My name is Haruo Sotozaki, and as you can see today, which is still the same day that we recorded one of our previous episodes, go check it out if you haven't, about him, capital H-I-M. I'm not joined by Chris and Kiko, who will probably be back later in this episode. I'm joined by good friend of us individually, but now good friend of the pod, Banton Luu, making his not only YouTube premiere, making your whole life a premiere, YouTube premiere here on this channel, but also I don't think you've ever been on a podcast before. We'll throw up some claps. Yeah, everyone, welcome Banton Luu to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Incredible. And what makes this nice about our scheduling, because Chris is also a busy guy and he's got some stuff to do right now while we're recording. He'll be back later in the episode to give us some of his initial thoughts and general thoughts on Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, which is what we are here to talk about today. One of the biggest movies over the last couple months, an anime film nonetheless, something that I know you and I, especially you for most of your life, I'm relatively new to the weeb fandom, but you know what I mean, like it's been manga, it's been anime for you. There's probably no better way to get this episode started. I know we want to get talking about the movie, but you want to talk a little bit about your favorite manga, your favorite anime, maybe what you're reading or watching right now, because you and I be chatting about that a lot. I mean, shoot, even a couple years ago when we went and saw some of these recap movies for Demon Slayer when they started coming out is when we got to chat. And I think you actually were a big reason I started reading, other than our friend Chloe Gix, one of the good reasons I started reading not only One Piece, but just started diving into stuff like Chainsaw Man and went from there. So you want to share with the viewers some of your faves right now that you're tapped into, or just your general history with anime?
Yeah, I would say currently my favorite manga is One Piece.
Hell yeah.
Most likely. And I mean, that goes without any explanation needed, right? Like, One Piece is by far one of the greatest.
Top
ever.
3 of all time?
I think it has a strong case for it to be top 3. In terms of anime, it really, like, I don't really have a top 5 per se. It's really hard. Like, I have like a rotation.
Exactly.
But like recent favorites, Dandadan this season has been really good.
We love Dandadan on this pod. We talk about it a lot.
Yeah. So that one's really good. Free Ren's really good. I think we talked about that previously. And I don't know if you watched this one, but Apothecary Diaries.
It's on the list. I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah.
Oh my God. People love that. People love
highly
that
recommend
anime.
it. Yeah.
You would recommend it?
Yeah. Those are some recent ones that I've been enjoying.
Man, I mean, without giving any spoilers away, because I really try not to give spoilers away. Chris hasn't even seen any of season 2 yet. But obviously, I don't know. Are you caught up in the manga? Did you just read what happened in this previous week?
For which one?
For Dandadan.
Dandadan?
Anime only.
Anime only right now.
Cool. Stick to it. We got the best art. We got the best art coming up in season 3, most likely.
I might end up cracking and reading the manga, but we'll see. We'll see.
I will say what just happened, chapter 210, I believe. Oh my God. Shakes up everything.
All right.
Everything has changed.
No spoilers.
No spoilers, but everything changes after that chapter. But I guess no spoilers for season 2. What did you think about it? Especially after this most recent banger we got for the season finale. Oh my God, cliffhanger.
Yeah. Whoop. That was one hell of a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I need another episode at least. But I really enjoyed it. I haven't really had time to digest in terms of whether I liked it more than season 1. But yeah, I had a really good time. I thought the art, as always, was really good. The characters are, they're the characters. They're kind of silly, kind of dumb, but lovable at the same time. So,
oh man,
had a really good time.
It kind of like we talked about it on the pod again, as you can go back and listen to some of what we've been watching, because we haven't done a whole episode of Dandadan, but man, there's just nothing that really makes me feel more like what it kind of felt like to be in high school, but I mean like the most zany version of it. Like it's really well written, especially for like feeling like what it was out to for shonen. Obviously, I don't even know if it's a shonen. I think it's more of like a romance. it gets crazy into the subgenres of all of these anime. But yeah, no, it's really got something special going. And I mean, I give you all my promise, and especially this man right now. If you read the manga, you will know that this anime will. I think this anime is going to end up top 10. It's just going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those cult classics. Not even a cult classic. It is incredibly popular. But obviously, you can tell we love a ton of anime. Obviously, Dan to Dan, not withholding. But today we are here to talk about no other anime than the anime of the year so far, and it's not an episodic anime. It's one that used to be episodic, but now it seems like it's going into these movie formats. One of the most famous and popular ones in recent memory worldwide as well, Demon Slayer. Infinity Castle, Part 1?
Part 1.
Part 1. We're getting 3 films, right? We're getting a trilogy of movies. I know you and I talked a bit about this because, a little bit of background, because for me, my anime only is Demon Slayer. You've read the manga.
I have.
Can we get a quick non-spoiler review and rating of the manga before we dive into what I'm assuming is, and maybe you can include this in your review as well, confirmation that this is the final arc. We're in the final 3 movies, which will probably finish out the entire story of Demon Slayer.
Yeah, so this trilogy of movies will cover the rest of the story.
Okay.
So without going into spoilers, the manga itself, while it's a fun read, I would say the anime is a lot better. I thought the artwork in the manga left a little bit to be desired, but still a pretty fun read.
And that's what's made it so popular worldwide, right? Is that not only in Japan, obviously it is a darling over in Japan, critical success anytime it drops, but everywhere from the United States to Mexico to France to Brazil. I mean, places where manga and anime are already popular, but this is like one of the most accessible animes because it's not a story so much that is like difficult to understand. We do have complicated, like this is Backstory Central. If you don't like anime, I mean, it's kind of hard to convince you to want to watch a film like this, but I mean, it's getting like ridiculous reviews, which has made me believe that this might be a turning point for just like the culture in general. Like we're getting like 90, again, we kind of talked about this in the Him review, take it for what you will with Rotten Tomatoes reviews, but we're like at 98% for Rotten Tomatoes. People on Letterboxd love this thing. We love this thing. I mean, I think I speak for Chris as someone, Chris hasn't even seen the full anime. He just kind of went into this. He saw season 1, Mugen Train film, kind of an episodic format. And we talked about one of our favorite collective arcs he has not seen, though, Entertainment District, which is sad. We'll have to watch that with him. But he'll be back here soon, probably to talk a little bit about his thoughts in general. But I mean, he thought it was a great watch, even though he is missing some bits and pieces of the plot. Now, I will have to call out friend of ours, friend of the pod, Tyler Bowie, who will be on an episode for the K-pop Demon Hunters coming out before this. I know that man loves his cartoons, but man, does he not like anime. And that's the thing I'm trying to say here is like he walked out of the movie feeling some type of way about it. I know it's getting a lot of love. We're going to give it so much love here over the next hour or so. But man, did he just walked out sighing. He was like, why did they have to talk so damn much about the past? Which is why I have to ask you real quick before I get into some of the plot points here, Banton. Anime and backstories. Something you like or something you loathe?
If it's done right, I think it is something that really enhances the show, and especially some of the characters. But I don't know if you want to dive into Demon Slayer right away, but I didn't really like it in this movie.
Okay. Hey. Come back for after the break because I know we're about to throw over the breaks, but you got a little bit of a spicy take there at the top. But I mean, that's what's so interesting about it is that whether or not you're an aficionado or you've been into it recently like me, or if you've been into it for a very long time like you, or even someone like Tyler who's just it's not his bread and butter. This movie has made nearly $500 million, $550 million as of now, and the movie has been out roughly 2 weeks, right?
That's crazy.
From the time we're recording this. On a $20 million budget. I mean, it took them about a year and a half to animate this. We're getting promises that about 2 years of animation time will be needed for the next 2 movies that come after this, like you're saying, will most likely finish the story. But it's taken over the world. I mean, again, it's like we're seeing, I know these AMC popcorn buckets are crazy, but did I think Demon Slayer popcorn buckets would be going for $350 on eBay?
Like, really?
Man, Jonas, we'll look up some eBay listings. It's crazy. I mean, that's just how these popcorn buckets are. People be like, limited this, limited that. You know, I love my trading cards. My God, I'd be fighting scalpers for that. The scalpers found their way into Demon Slayer. That's how you know it's popular worldwide, is when the scalpers get involved. But it's made so much money. It's getting critical acclaim out the wahoo, the complete opposite of a movie like him, right? And it's animated. It's just one of those things that it's like, wow, it's so gratifying to see it happen. And as someone who's relatively new to watching this form of storytelling, like, and really loving it and feeling like it's one of my favorite ways to watch a show or a film, it gave me hope for like the kind of impact this is going to have on Western animation as well. I mean, we've talked about it before in the pod, the beauty of like the Spider-Verse movies, right? Are you a fan of the Spider-Verse movies? Hopefully. Fantastic. So I think it's very difficult to separate that from the, they love things like Attack on Titan or like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or or Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, like the big three at one point, have all played a factor over like 25 years of like starting to influence Western animation. And the Western animation that's getting the most love and making the most money. So basically this making so much money, having so much love on social media too, like, man, the reactions in the theater have been crazy. Like you remember watching the Minecraft movie reaction with all the kids throwing popcorns and yelling chicken jockey?
I did hear about that.
That's what this was for the weebs. and the non-weebs. If you Japanese and you fucking with your local culture, man, hell yeah. Throw that popcorn.
I haven't heard too many rowdy fans in the theaters with Demon Slayer, except for maybe one incident.
Yeah, maybe the guy who peed.
Yeah,
we don't gotta talk about it too much, but don't do that.
Don't do that.
What are you doing?
That should be common sense.
That should be common sense. He got his ass beat though, so
yeah,
that'll probably happen if you pee in a movie theater. I did. So funny. I mean, look, we're not going to talk about it too much more, but a perfect thing to talk about before we throw it over to the other half of the break here. But man, I saw someone say, you don't want to use pee breathing. Like, that's not, there ain't no technique for that, bro. You got beat by the stone Hashira. Everyone in their fists, like, terrible. Don't do it.
Yeah,
just don't do it. But man, we got a big fall slate of anime movies coming out as well. I mean, we got Chainsaw Man, the Reze movie. Gonna sweet. I mean,
that's gonna be good.
Y'all aren't ready. Are you ready for that?
I don't think I am, but man, I'm excited.
Bring your tissues. It's really gonna be a really fun time. I'm so excited we'll probably chat about it maybe with you or someone else on this pod as well. And JJK is coming back, another cultural phenom, probably on the level of Demon Slayer. Damn, yeah, the mosquitoes are really.
I'm getting killed out here.
But man, so we can escape the mosquitoes. All right, we should just throw us back to the other half of the break. And when we come back, we will talk to you with our full spoiler thoughts on Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1. And we're back with a little bit of a set change, Banton. The mosquitoes were becoming a bit too unbearable. So we're coming to you live from another part of XD's backyard to talk with you all about Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1. Again, came out just a couple weeks ago in early September to huge critical acclaim, massive returns at the box office, especially for not only an animated film, but an anime directed by Haruo Sotozaki and Hikaru Kondo. I think we're getting these pronunciations down a little bit more. Hell yeah, let's go. But man, did they direct a hell of a film. We're just kind of thrown in if you're, this is why is this big spoilers. If you have not seen seasons 1, I believe Mugen Train is technically just Mugen Train. And then season 2, Entertainment District. Season 3, out in the oh my god, what's the name of the village, the sword keepers?
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
I forget what it's called technically.
that it's been a while. That arc, and then Hashira training arc as season 4. A lot of backlog, I think, to dive into, which it might be interesting to see what Chris thought about. This is someone who hasn't seen all that yet. But spoilers beware. All Demon Slayer stuff, anime only though, so you won't have to worry about what comes after. Wow, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. Truly a film that I think from the very beginning, and maybe you can give me your opinion on this as well, Banton, that really justified being a theater-only release for a show that's been so popular and people watch week to week on Hulu, Crunchyroll, however you watch your anime. It's something that I just knew from the minute that it began. It's so much this movie is ore farming 101. The mosquitoes are back.
I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. The mosquitoes are back. We will be fighting them throughout like the true Demon Slayers that we are. We're thrown into the beginning of this movie with the Stone Hashira, the big boy himself. Honestly, Hashira probably ranked number 1, Master's right-hand man, kind of lamenting the fact that he knew that he had to let Master die at the very end of season 4, and that's where we're left. Is you think they've got Mike Jack himself, they got Muzan, throw him up Muzan himself. They thought they got him on the ropes, and he sacrificed himself just to put him in a position to win. And this is what we've been building up to for many years at this point, right? We've got Tanjiro, obviously, main character, love Tanjiro, but he has just been building up his strength to even be at Hashira level. So for it to begin a bit and not to begin with Tanjiro and just give like a nice little connective tissue about being like, hey, this is what we've been building up to for years. Look at all the demon slayers who have died, all of Master's children, like he affectionately refers to him as. It's like been a 1,000-year battle. And I love the first 5 minutes before we get the title drop, because it's just Gyomei walking through and just aura farming with his dead brethren. And it's like, damn, bro, like this is about to get serious. And I don't know if that's anime only or if that's in the manga, because I know there was a lot of anime only editions in season 4 because the Hashira training arc is so short in the manga, right? And it's a benefit, I think, to what Ufotable, obviously the main contributors to the animation for all of Demon Slayer since the beginning. Probably just want to add in as much as they can, because they have their, I think, equation down, but for some reason, from the moment this movie begins, Banton, and I want to hear your thoughts on it, it felt like this movie had this particular sauce that it needed to really succeed on the big screen. In IMAX and Dolby, like we both had a chance to see in both, and so.
Yeah, I mean, from the get-go, I think it's all business, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's really no time for jokes throughout the entire film. So I think the beginning really set the tone in terms of, all the characters kind of falling into the castle. And I think right away you kind of see the stakes. Everyone's kind of confronted by demons, and it's just action right away. So I think it's a good tone setter for what's to come with the rest of the movie. So I completely agree. It was a good start.
Great start. And then, I think, I forget what the name of the demon is, but I don't think it's even talked about in the film, maybe once, but upper rank 4, which is the lady with the single eye now, has gotten all of Muzan's blood, and she's the one plucking the instrument, the I'm assuming the Japanese instrument that is sending everyone into every which way of the Infinity Castle. What a cool concept for like a final set piece. Like that's something about Demon Slayer. I was like, look, man, I've seen so many series in my lifetime that have multiple parts and multiple movies, and like we've talked about with manga, multiple chapters. This is an incredible way to end the entire story, like one of the most popular stories for an anime worldwide. Infinity Castle is so cool. What a cool concept. And it really is something that it's like, damn, you really thought the Hashira figured it out. But on top of not having the powers of demons, on top of not having the ability to regenerate and just continuously like fight back against your own demons as a demon, and just being human, which is like the center of so many anime in general, is like it's the beauty and pain of being human. It's like such a shonen thing, but it's like this is like the most of it all. It's like we fight for humanity. Like we literally are fighting to maintain the ability to remain human, because that's like what we were meant to be. And it comes with a lot of the backstories, really give a lot of background of why that's important. But man, from the very beginning, the animation looks spectacular. I mean, we get little bits and vignettes of like what each Hashira is up to. Do you like something like that? I don't know. Is that what it's kind of like in the manga? You see where everyone's at, and then we center in on the 3 big fights that we're going to get into here soon. But obviously, not every Hashira's got something to do, but you got to flex the animation, all the different kind of insect breathing. I'm not going to be in them all right. Bro's got a snake. Come on. It's incredible. I mean, all the little bits and pieces, like you said, it's not a very funny movie, but the chibi moments are great. And it's something that Ufotable and Demon Slayer does well as like keep it light when you have to. Any good shonen needs to keep it a little light.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But I think it does a good job of kind of minimizing the jokes and realizing kind of what's at stake with this movie, and as well as the rest of the story. Like, you're in the end game now. While I agree that some of the jokes and the chibi moments were definitely needed to kind of break up the tension sometimes, I think the mangaka, as well as Ufotable, were very intentional about, kind of minimizing that for when it's really needed versus kind of cramming in jokes just for the sake of, having jokes.
Which is a very anime thing. You get it a lot.
It really is.
We call it filler. We don't like filler like all the time, but sometimes filler can be good because
it can be.
But that's the thing, is that filler isn't even like, filler I think refers to stuff that really means nothing at the end of the day. Like, you're getting additional, mosquito alert. Moving did not help at all. The audio listeners were going to really have something to figure out what's going on in the video. Yeah, check us out on YouTube. But yeah, filler is like, you can refer to original anime content in a good way, because like sometimes it adds to the story that the mangaka themselves did not intend on originally writing down. I mean, look, do you think that when you're drawing or writing a really popular manga story like that, you're really considering the implications of like what the music is going to sound like, how it's going to look when it's animated, give you a great example away from Demon Slayer. Very excited for Kagurabachi. I mean, we've talked a little bit about that. It's going to get picked up for an anime, but that's one of those ones where it's like, I love the manga, but I'm like, I just don't know what the vibe of the music and the animation is going to have to be to really warrant it being made into one. Yeah, I gotta have to, using that as a slight aside to give some time to look at the mangaka of Demon Slayer, Koyoharu Gotuge.
That sounds right to me.
Man, I'm really sorry. You're a legend. It's like, you're a legend, and I love your mangaka little icon. It's like a little crocodile with glasses. Gotta love the mangakas out there, protecting their ability to stay anonymous. Man, let's talk a little bit about the music in this entire film. Incredible. I think each individual fight has something special, and they were cooking. Oh my God. Everything from the organs, the pianos, you really feel like you're in a gothic setting. I mean, it feels like being in a church late at night, but you just feel like you're in, I felt like I was in a church the entire time, like a church that's never ending, a really scary church. It's like it's the deity of demon kind. Like, it's the church of demons is really how I look at the Infinity Castle. And I think the music is some of the best I've heard this year, man. Top 5 of music I've heard from any film this year. I mean, it's up there with Sinners. Like, I just am like, oh man, that's something like injected into my brains. I need the OST immediately. I can't find it on streaming. I think you can find some songs on YouTube right now, but everything from obviously big spoilers ahead. We'd just be chatting about in general the spoilers of like, hey, like the emotional hits of Akaza's backstory and the music that the thumping, pulsating music during Zenitsu's battle with his big bro. And everything that happens during the trio battle between Tanjiro Tomioka and wow, they just keep coming. Tomioka and Akaza. Like, I'm telling you, when that organ hits, my God, I was gonna jump out of my seat and start clapping if literally no one in my theater said anything. But yeah, we had a quiet theater, that's for sure. But what did you think about the music as a whole? And man, did it seem special to you or more run of the mill?
Yeah, I would say I didn't focus in on the music as much as you did. I think my main focus was more on the animation.
Word.
But so I'll defer to you most of the time on the music, but I thought it was really good. And I think the most important thing was it didn't take away or distract from, the story or the movie itself. So
there wasn't any corny use of it. It was all fairly well timed. Like, that's something I feel like with anime sometimes you're like, damn, I don't think we needed the jump take or like the reaction cut that was like met with like weird.
For sure, yeah.
Usually, yeah, that doesn't really fit the vibe of it at all. Well, I give you one better than animation just in general. Fuck. 20 mil is a lot. Obviously, like some film, like we review films on here and like all movie goers and people do in general, but you're getting bloated $100-200 million I don't know, like just budgets for massive films, and you get 20 mil, 2 years, some of the best animators around the world. I don't know if it's just Japan. Like, I know like Science Saru, for example, like Dawn to Dawn again. You're using this year they used co-directors. I think the guy was from Europe. I forget which country, but obviously with the Japanese originators and the mangaka working on it, you got the crack team of your best, the best of the best that have been with Demon Slayer since the beginning. I think every single Hashira gets a moment at the beginning, and then obviously we get the big battles. Let's start with the big little moments, and then maybe what are your thoughts on like the big battles in general? My God, just so special. So special.
2 hours later.
And we're back. Joined again by co-host Chris and Kiko, and obviously Banton Luu in a different location of the same backyard to avoid the mosquitoes, because we were on mosquito watch, mosquito alert heavy in one of our previous episodes, but in particularly this one. So have to shift it around, but happy to have Chris back. So funny. We've recorded a lot today, but this will be a separate episode in its own right. Chris, we talked a little bit, me and Banton chatted a little bit before the break about our previous experiences with just with anime in general. And you've talked about it on the pod before. We've talked about it with each other, and we shouted out / didn't shout out Tyler Bowie at the top, saying that he's a guy who likes animation, but he does not like anime. You're somewhere in the middle. So I just wonder if you want to talk to the viewers a little bit before we get into our chat today about Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. All spoilers ahead, especially now after the break. Just kind of how you're feeling about anime and just your general thoughts on the film, given like kind of your stance on anime in general.
Well, first off, I've been here the entire time. I don't really know what they're talking about. But anyways, I'd say probably, yeah, anime, I'm definitely much more on the casual side. At least with lead up to this movie, I've only seen up to basically the Mugen Train. So I've seen that movie and like 2 other episodes past that. And so that's kind of where I'm coming into. It's like in terms of the plot development sense, I've come in basically blind. But I know who like the main characters are. So at least I had that going into it. But in general anime, I really only watch like the big ones. If you're really insistent, I would say, on watching like Jujutsu Kaisen. That was one where I was like, okay, like I get into this, I'll follow that. Chainsaw Man, I follow that one. But yeah, but I'm not like a super like I'm not watching. I'm more of a movie guy. That's kind of what we do here, and that's kind of what I like to discuss. But anime, like the Demon Slayer, now it's as of this recording, it is the highest grossing anime movie of all time. I don't know if you guys have mentioned that yet, but yeah, I know it's just like it's a big event and it's interesting. And I thought like just in general, I thought the movie was really entertaining. Just knowing how little I did about the specific plot developments, you guys kind of caught me up to speed a little bit before we went in. But yeah, I just enjoyed all the battles. I think it was just a very entertaining movie. It kind of falls into the same kind of. I know one thing that Bowie doesn't like that we sort of discussed about anime that I'm also not a huge fan of is the whole like before someone's about to die, they like discuss their entire backstory. Like it's like their entire life like flashes before your eyes and then boom, they die. I go back and forth on that. There's definitely a lot of that in this movie, but the main one that happens in it with Akaza, is that his name? Yeah, I liked that one. I wasn't expecting it. Maybe I should have been, but yeah, that can go either way for me, like explaining the backstory and stuff. But
I mean, it's incredible too because again, we got to have all different kinds of perspectives on the pod, and now we've got one because again. Banton, we were talking about before the break as well that you weren't even the biggest fan of the backstories, and that's as someone that's really been into this for a while, anime and manga alike. But before we jump into the conversations in general about these specific fight sequences, everything we loved and loathed about the movie, gotta say, yeah, bringing to you our review here, especially spoiler, so it's all spoilers after this for Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1. Like we talked about, Banton, 3 movies, huh? We got 3 movies coming up. 3 movies
spanning through, I think, the rest of the decade, right?
Rest of the decade. I think every 2 years we're going to be carried through. And we talked about it maybe at the top. After all the moving and the mosquitoes we were fighting off with our mosquito breathing. I really think I've made that joke one too many times in this episode. I think you mentioned that we are in the final arc. So these final 3 movies, including Part 1 of Infinity Castle. And maybe they'll call the next movie something different. Do you think they will? Because it's all going to still happen in Infinity Castle.
It's probably just Part 2 and 3.
Yeah. Incredible. But yeah, brought to you by Ufotable and directors Haruo Sotozaki and Hikaru Kondo. Hey, talk about it, Banton.
I laughed because when you said brought to you by, I thought you were going to like go into a sponsor.
Brought to you by
something.
Kellogg's. Brought to you by Team Wheaties. Gatorade itself. We were actually signed to Gatorade last week. We're in there.
I didn't know that.
We're in there with the big boys now. Demon Slayer brought to you by Yakult. Talk about comedy in the Demon Slayer film.
Many hours later.
Man, y'all don't even know what we've been going through to record this episode, but as you can see, we've got double hoods on right now.
I think you do, considering the continuity errors that are rampant throughout this episode. Again, even me right now. I
shout out everyone in the comment section below. Shout out Jonas.
I've been like here for like 5 minutes, and I've already changed into pants because I just looked down. You're like, let's get into the episode, shall we? And I see like this mosquito that just will not leave my leg. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna protect up here.
This is what we're doing to bring you all our review of Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1. But man, we might have even said it at the very top, and Jonas is gonna have a fun time editing this. But let's just finally talk about the plot and the events of this movie. And I do want to begin with the very beginning. And like I was saying before, Chris had to do a bit of a wardrobe, like we all have at this point. Man, my guy Muzan, Mike Jack, walked up into the Hashira headquarters, murdered the entire family. Well, what we think is the entire family at the end of season 4 of The Master. And it's really baiting him into a situation where all the Hashira can join in one, be like, we're going to cook this man. And it's time to end the 1,000-year battle that we've had against the demons. But of course, Muzan, classic Muzan, has a backup plan. Even though you've got the demons on your side, like the couple of demons we meet in season 1, Tamayo, the homies that are trying to also become humans themselves again and go against that bloodlust. They all get cooked because they get thrown to the Infinity Castle. Something that we talked about a little bit before, but let's chat about now. How freaking cool is the Infinity Castle as one of the final set pieces of, again, such a famous and just impactful story that's been told and loved by people worldwide. I mean, Infinity Castle is so cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And one thing I want to shout out is the CG that goes into the movie.
Yeah.
The CG,
the hand drawn and
Yeah.
the CG effects being balanced by Ufotable. Yeah.
yeah, it's blended really well. And I know within the anime community, a lot of people kind of loathe CG. And when they see it, they're like, "This is disgusting." But I think when done well and when it like blends well with the 2D, I think it works really well, especially for this movie.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, shoot. I mean, we'll shoot to the very end if we're just talking about Infinity Castle. That whole like sequence of upper four, the lady with the Japanese instrument, just strumming one chord every single time. You know the sound. Maybe we can. Jonas will throw it in here. But
You're gonna give him more work.
gonna give him more work to do.
Right?
We're making this terrible for our boy. Gotta love an executive producer. But no, it's
This is more work than an executive producer normally does. Well, he's also the editor too. We gotta mention that.
We got editor and
he is
executive producer.
He's working extremely hard on this one.
He's working overtime right
he's
now.
working extremely hard right now as we speak.
Man, if you came in here for a very straightforward Demon Slayer review, you are not getting it. But hopefully, you're enjoying what you're getting so far.
Banton was making a joke when I gave him the sweatshirt there, like, you know, we're just like extras in 8 Mile now. Yeah. And that's kind of what we are, like in a
where's
different
my
way.
hood? What the hell?
I'm just kind of looking like a sillier version of what Banton is doing because I'm wearing
it's
an
8
All-Star,
Mile, but
wearing an
Northwest on
All-Star
Rainier.
game All-Star game shirt. He's wearing my flannel, which actually looks quite good.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah,
it's
it
a good
looks,
fit.
It actually
Matches
looks
the
quite
colors. Come
yeah,
on.
it actually fits you really well.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Let's just glaze.
Anyways,
our
this is our episode. Thanks for watching.
This is going to be a crazy switch up when I say, what did you feel like? This is just crazy.
This is an
in general.
insane episode.
We're keeping this. We're keeping this.
No, absolutely, we are.
But no, since you have the mic now, I'm going to ask you for one of the few connections we were able to make at the very end of it for Infinity Castle and how cool the different ways that Upper 4 is trying to keep our Hashira and our titular protagonist on their toes is like just switching it up where we've got one version of the Infinity Castle, one moment. Everything's kind of slowly moving throughout the whole 2.5 hours of this film. But in that final 5 minutes with the credit roll and kind of setting up for what inevitably is going to be part 2, they got the Infinity Castle looking like a mother box from DC. They've got it looking like just like like miles and miles and miles of city. Like it's like, how are they going to beat this dude? Like Muzan has them in a corner. It's like if you were Hashira, like how would you feel if you're just like stuck? Like if you could see what was happening from the outside looking in. Like, what the hell's even going on? This is like the Church of Demons, basically.
I went to the bathroom the first time, like, I think they showed Muzan in, like, his little blood circle thingy.
The throbbing,
so
like,
I don't
CGI
know,
heart.
the throbbing CGI heart, and
Terrible.
then I just saw him at the end. He's like, "Mwahaha, you're not going to get me." He's like, "Blah, blah."
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Crazy. I'm sure that's how Muzan felt in that.
This is exactly how Muzan felt.
But, no, I think that the scope of the Infinity Castle was really cool to see because there's a lot of shots at the very beginning. We didn't see this in IMAX, but in Dolby, it still takes up the full frame, like of just like the camera like coming like in and out of the castle.
They
and
were
you're
cooking.
just like seeing, and like the camera's just like, you talk about the blend of CG and like hand drawn and hand drawn stuff. It's like things are just swiveling everywhere, and it's like there's people on these platforms just like fighting random demons and stuff like that, and like it's just the sweeping like the scale of it is something where. You know, I haven't watched the whole show, but like clearly it's like they spent tons of time and money in like getting that all right. I'm sure like it helped that a lot of the castle looks the same and you can just keep repeating it.
Right.
But yeah, when it like at the end when it folds in on itself and becomes a giant box, I was like, this is
infinite
wild.
fold.
Yeah, infinite fold. That was wild.
Well, then, Chris, as a fellow music lover, I mean, we talk about it a lot in the chat. We've got to make sure to talk about it at the very top because we forget. How'd you feel about the music, especially listening to it in like a Dolby setting?
I thought it was pretty cool. Again, I don't have the background. I'll say I don't have the background in like the score. Did you just say the guy was a really famous like composer?
I don't know if he was a famous composer.
Oh,
We'll have to look it up. Maybe we'll throw it more work for Jonas. We'll throw it up in post. But no, I mean, I just think the music, man, was just spectacular.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, again, just really, I have to go back to like the epicness in scale. I think just everything just felt like, oh yeah, like, oh shit, we're doing it now. There's like 4 moments where it's like, oh shit, we're doing this, and like kind of the blend between the. It's kind of like we did him earlier today, and it's that same type of thing. It's like, you know, when cinematography and music work together, like that's kind of, it can make up a bulk of like the feeling of the movie. And this is certainly very different than a horror movie about football. But I mean, yeah, they just kind of did it. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, Demon Slayer
I kind of sound like a guy who looked at the homework the day before the test right now. But
hey, those
I
people
just
exist
enjoyed
too.
it. Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that all $550 million were made off of people that have watched Demon Slayer, like as a series. There's no way. There has to be some people that have walked in like completely blind. Again, like
sure.
Tyler.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But no, I mean, music is incredible. Another really great part of this film, obviously, I mean, this wouldn't work, especially for more casual viewers or more serious viewers, if Ufotable wasn't bringing their highest quality animation. And I really feel like outside of Heights of Season 2 with the Entertainment District arc, which is the one you'll watch next, Chris, the animation in this movie is fucking incredible. And it's the type of stuff that, like, you know, if you saw reactions in the theater or if you had a theater experience with an active crowd, like people were just loving it every single time a beloved character would pop on screen. And beloved even for some of the demons like Akaza. But I mean, hey, how about we start off with some of the animation with the all the Hashira kind of given a moment in the sun, the ones that will not be focused on in part 1, but probably part 2 and 3. And then right into, unfortunately, our first death of a Hashira. RP Shinobu, because we get Shinobu versus Doma, Upper Moon 2. Just, he had a backstory, he was a weird kid. And he was like, damn, I probably want to be weird as a demon as well, which is exactly what he is. Animation from the beginning of this movie kind of into that fight, how to make you feel, especially as someone who's read the manga.
Yeah, I think the animation for that fight in particular was really good. I want to say that was the first time we've seen Shinobu actually use her like breathing technique.
Yeah.
If I'm
She's
correct.
been really quick. She's a fast, she's like the fastest Hashira.
Yeah.
Because she's like got the small hands and she's always been tinier, and that's kind of like a huge part of her backstory. With her sister that passed away is like, damn, like it's sad for many reasons, not only because I love this character, but because she has so many physical like things that are impaired by the fact that she can't like be bigger or have stronger like her strength can't be on like a level like Gyomei's, right? Bro's an absolute unit too. I'm like, why are you even comparing yourself to like Arnold Schwarzenegger over here? Like, I don't even like. Why? I gotta feel bad for you now that that's your benchmark. But no, it's tragic because you're like, damn, it's reminiscent of, I'm sure, a way a lot of people feel that like just don't have that kind of ability to be taking their skills to the next level. Even if you want to do it, it's like your body, you're tiny. Like there's only a certain amount of things you can do, and Doma takes advantage of that. What a creepy demon. Yeah,
he was pretty creepy. I honestly, I know we talked about it before, but he didn't really need a backstory. Like,
he didn't.
If he was going to be an asshole, like in his past, we could have kind of left it behind. But
and thank God it was only like a minute. Like it was short.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But do you think that's where kind of your issues with some of the pacing of this movie kind of really began?
Yeah, especially with the flashbacks. I think it really kind of takes away from the flow of the fight sometimes.
Yeah.
When, you know, we're right in the thick of it and, you know, they're going back and forth, and then we cut to like, you know, 5 minutes of backstory, which not everyone needs. And I feel like that's kind of one of the cons for me with Demon Slayer. I feel like the mangaka kind of wrote themselves into a corner in the previous arcs where it feels like everyone gets a backstory.
And if you don't keep it consistent, then that's like maybe a downside to the writing.
Potentially, yeah. So it just feels like towards the end, if like they felt the need to include a backstory for everyone, and I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but who am I to, question their choices?
Hey, say your piece, because I mean maybe that'll be a good thing to ask Chris as someone who hasn't seen all of Demon Slayer. Again, like we know where you're at with anime and backstories in general. Like, how did you feel about backstories in this film? If it was Doma, like we're gonna leave some room at the end to talk about Akaza's backstory in particular, but it's not even Doma getting a backstory. We're getting more from Shinobu and her relationship with her sisters and her family. And it's great, it's good, but it's like in the span, because I also have to say, and my one criticism of the movie, I'm really strong in this film, is sometimes the pacing for those backstories really kill momentum. And I'm just 2.5 hours into a movie and we're getting another 15 minutes on top of what we've already gotten about like why we should feel sad rather than just like getting that vibe from the fight.
Yes, so I did not fall asleep, and I was never planning to do that, but there was a guy too, like I was sitting on the end of like our big group, and there was a dude who was snoring for like probably 20 to 25 minutes. And
that's tough.
And it was during those flashback scenes, just because they do, like, as again, someone who's a casual, like they kind of drag the pace of the movie for sure. Like you're watching this cool big fight, and then like a slash comes down, and then you leave for 20 minutes, and then you forgot the slash ever happened. and then you come back, and then that's what's going on. Like I'm reading, I know, like again, I like to read some of the Letterboxd reviews before I go into these movies, just to see what people are feeling. And like the top review is Infinity Castle X, and then Infinity Flashbacks check mark. And so if it kind of felt like that's kind of, if you're not into the anime, I'm sure whether you're into the anime or not, like again, a lot of people really caught on to the amount of flashbacks. 200 flashbacks per second is another one I see right on my phone here.
It's like spot on.
It is.
Gosh,
it really is spot on.
on.
Those reviews are kind of spot on. But yeah, in between though, again, I was really enjoying like the variance in the fights. I do like the fact that like the demons, they like to praise their Hashira, their competitors, and like, you're doing such a great job.
Especially Doma. Doma's a little shit.
Doma, he's really pretty, like he's an asshole about it for sure. Yeah. He's like, you're just so great. I'm really happy. I'm gonna eat you.
Well, that's how he felt about these. Like he was like, back when I was a kid and I had these sparkly eyes, white hair. It just told these old ass men with debts from gambling, yeah, it's gonna be all right. It was not all right. He kept your skull after you died because he's weird. Yeah, Doma's not him.
Yeah, he's just so excited to eat people, and then he's like, wow, you're doing such a great job. And then like
the voice actor's great too. I mean, he really sells. Like that voice, I've heard that voice actor before. I don't know who he, and I'm not gonna ask Jonas to do more work, but y'all could probably figure it out. Doma's voice actor, great.
Yeah, no, I agree. All the voice acting in these movies is good. Like I really don't have any
The Japanese versions are the ones, like the sub versions are the ones we're watching.
Yeah, we're watching the Japanese versions, the English subs. Yeah, obviously I don't know what you guys think of the English dubs of Demon Slayer, but yeah,
it's okay. I've seen some episodes. I know we got Channing. We'll maybe talk about it again later. Channing Tatum is in the very end here for one of Akaza's backstories. But have you seen the dub at all?
No, I haven't.
Cool.
Not even for the previous seasons.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna ask for your mic real quick because I was hoping that Channing Tatum, if we sees it, he's like, oh, we got a Wolverine up in here. He just started saying random lines. He's like, oh, I was made for it. What does he say? I'm about to make a name for myself. I'm sure he says that at some point. Am I correct, chat?
Well, I'm about to make a name for myself in this Infinity Castle. Like that was one of the YouTube comments I saw underneath the English dub when it came out. Oh, I'm gonna see myself in this Infinity Castle real quick. We didn't even know who he was voicing until the movie came out, which is, he has a fun little role at the very end of the dub in particular. But yeah, R.I.P. Shinobu. I mean, she's also been here since the very beginning. Her and Gyomei are like the two first, I think, Hashira that you meet. Obviously, Gyomei, or not Gyomei. Oh my, so many names. Oh my goodness.
Gyu, you mean?
Gyu Tomioka. Put some respect in the water, Hashira. I gotta tell to myself. Gyu and Shinobu are in season 1, and they're there from the very beginning. So for a death to happen that quickly, and it's tragic. I think Kanao is her name, the understudy of Shinobu. But the girl that comes in the very end, if you're not familiar with the names, that sees her master get her back literally snapped in half. And then he's getting, like, that's the crazy thing about what they can do with these demons and giving them different powers. I didn't know that the demons could, like, inhale them. Like, yeah, eat them, but, like, literally through the body, bro. I'm like, that is gnarly. That's like, there is some good horror vibes coming from the Doma fight in particular, more than I've gotten from other Demon Slayer fights throughout the years.
Yeah, for sure. And back to your original question about kind of the animation, I do really appreciate the fact that everyone kind of has like a unique aesthetic when it comes to fighting. So like with Doma, he has kind of his ice attacks
his
or whatever.
Fans and stuff.
His fans, and I mean, that looks really good. And then the insect breathing or whatever it's called.
Yeah, insect breathing, yeah.
Yeah, just very unique aesthetics.
Flight of the Horn. I'm like, when they're flying at it with like the animals themselves, I'm like, they leveled up for this movie. I can see where the 20 mil was going. God, they made so much off of this for 20 mil. But yeah, no, RP Shinobu. And I think we'll see where it picks up with Kanao at the very end. And then, I mean, that's cue anything that we had thinking about like the entire family being gone. Apparently this kid, I guess there was another son and 2 other sisters of the master's family. They're trying to track the insane Infinity Castle throughout the entire time. That's always kind of fun to see that all happening, which I'm like, how are you all actively doing this? Because they're changing it every like millisecond. Like this is not a sustainable fight that you're putting up. But of course you got to have the scene where the master comes back after through the afterlife and is like, hey man, you got this. Yeah. He's like, I got to do it.
To your point about like the sisters dying or whatever, yeah. I was kind of confused because I thought
why'd she have to die? Why'd they have to die?
Why I thought they were dead, and then I was like, "There's 2 other sisters."
There's 5 kids, I think.
Yeah, so I was a little confused by that.
In the comments below, please, I need to know.
They all look too similar.
They have the same build, except the son has black hair and all the daughters have white hair. It's a classic. That's a hood classic right there. I don't know why I said hood classic. It's crazy. Maybe we should keep that in. This has already been a ridiculous episode. No better way to talk about one of my talk about a cringe comment. Let's talk about one of our favorite cringe characters, Zenitsu, one of our favorites, the Lightning Hashira, the man who can only use one form, single form, form 1, I believe, right?
Form 1, yep.
It's all speed, baby. He would have run track if he could have in real life. But we do love Zenitsu. And I think there was something about the end of last season that got me real excited. I'm like, why is Zenitsu locking in? He went from being the most unbearable character, a beloved one, but an unbearable character. Something that you've only seen the annoying parts of Zenitsu other than when he falls asleep. Which I'm like, damn, did we just really do away with the falling asleep subplot? But anyways, he's locked in now, and we find out the reason he's locked in is that his big bro is now Upper Moon 6. I believe it's Kaigaku. And he's the guy that was also trained by his similar master. They were trained together. I think he is in an earlier episode of one episode of Demon Slayer. So he has been around, but wouldn't blame you if you didn't know who he was, because I had to be reminded. I had to be reminded
too.
And you know, he knows the other 5 forms of thunder breathing, of lightning breathing, and he's out here trying to do his thing. And then just feels like, why am I being locked down? You get his backstory, which I'm like, damn, okay, we got Upper 6's backstory now, but it helped because I needed to know what the hell was going on with Zenitsu. And their master, good old Gramps, the former Hashira himself, commits seppuku.
You got it.
There we go. I had to get it on the second part. And was it you that was telling me about this, or someone that was like, the traditional way that happens is like there's someone ready to slice your throat so you don't have to feel like the worst pain of it all. But he stabs himself with his katana in his stomach and bleeds out. It's like one of the worst ways you can go out as a human. And he did that because he was so ashamed. One of his students became a demon, and I was locked in. I was like, oh, it's brother versus brother in this situation. Probably the best backstories we got out of the entire movie next to Akaza. But it was short and sweet enough where I was like, damn, it felt like we were waiting how many years, Banton, for Zenitsu to pop off. He finally did. Who knew he had it in him? Did you think he did?
I mean, I read the manga, so I kind of knew, but
he said all due respect.
I mean, to your point though, like up until this point, we've kind of seen Zenitsu just be like comedy relief.
Yeah.
Certainly when he's asleep, he can hold his own, but how often does that really happen?
When you need it to happen, when the plot demands it.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. So, but to see him kind of have his moment and like be serious and awake for it, and for him to unleash this, new technique.
The 7th form, I was like, and it's oh my God. How did you feel about the 7th form? Again, just like purely animation and just like kind of the vibe and the music of everything going on in that moment, like the build up itself. When you thought like he was down and out, boy, was he not.
Well, yeah, first of all, the whole Zenitsu like as comic relief, like that is most of my experience with him. And then he kind of just occasionally aura farms really hard. and then he just shows up immediately. He's like, I'm aura farming from the start.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, okay, we're really locked in here. He's serious about this. And then, when he goes like they're talking about he only knows the one form and the guy he's fighting knows all the other forms. And then the kids are like, well, the first form is kind of like the basis of the whole thing. Like, and then,
it's the foundation.
You're the foundations. Like, the basics, like, how to dribble. The other guy knows how to dunk, type of thing, and like do windmill dunks, but he's got none of the other, like he doesn't have the
Steph
fundamentals
Curry and LeBron.
down. He's not Tim Duncan, let's say that. But he's more like Blake Griffin.
He's a Blake Griffin type guy.
He's more like Blake Griffin.
For sure. And does that make Zenitsu Chris Paul?
I have no idea.
Cool.
But I will say he's like, where'd that come from? When he does the 7th form, he's like, I made it up, and then he's like, no, type of thing, and then he dies. I thought that was kind of funny.
Or even one of the I forget again the name of the specific demon, but the demon that is still trying to be a human. That's with all of them. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But he comes in, he's basically like, must be shitty to die this way, and grabs Zenitsu's like lifeless body and like takes him up as his big bro, the Upper Moon 6, is fading away. But man, I was there. I was at IMAX. I'm telling you, there were 2 different experiences I had. Y'all with Dolby, and then I went with Jonas to see it in IMAX before we saw it in Dolby. But out of these like 2 or 3 times I've seen the film now, I'm like, that's that moment where even like I'm like with Jonas watching it for the first time. For him, he was like, oh, we're getting Zenitsu. Zenitsu's about to pop off, and I think it paid off. It was a great payoff.
Yeah, I mean that's like his one moment in the movie. Again, this is much more of like we go later like an Akaza movie, especially the second half. But Zenitsu gets this nice little moment. He wraps up his battle pretty quick. I mean, like he's
about business.
He's pretty sad. He's like, you know what? He said like the guy who was fighting was his big brother. Is that
not like not by blood, but was his ability to use the other 5 forms of light. So they grew up together.
They complete each other.
And his older brother,
fellow students. So
his fellow student is the reason his master Gramps killed himself in the worst way possible.
Yeah,
that's why he locked. It's a good reason to lock in Zenitsu. Shout out you, brother, for knowing your priorities. But man, I mean, it was of all the backstories. I do think I gotta put it down. I'm saying it right now. My favorite moment in the entire movie, is Gramps saying that you're my heart and soul, or you're my pride and joy. Like I was a wreck the first time I saw that. I was like, come on, man, it's so perfect. And Zenitsu's just like, life is trying to hang on to him, and Gramps is like, I'm gone. You got to go out and do this thing for me, man. I was like, damn. Sometimes these backstories do be hitting.
I'm curious how you interpret these like moments where like someone who's dead kind of just shows up and gives a pep talk. Like, how do you interpret those? Because I think we've had a few in this movie alone with Shinobu's older sister, and then with Zenitsu's
and we get one with Akaza too at the very end.
Yes.
There's an interesting thing in Demon Slayer, I think, for all these seasons that we've seen now, where there's like really tight connection, and there's like lightly insinuated that there is heaven and hell. Obviously, demons go to hell. Humans go to heaven, depending on what you've done, but like all demons go to hell, the opposite of like all dogs go to heaven type shit. And I'm just like, look, the beauty of that in animation, at least, like I'm not sure how it was like if you reading it week to week, if that can just kind of be like, all right, I don't know why these all keep coming up. Like it's a beautiful spiritual connection among like a world that's been built out. That's fucking crazy. I mean, if you're like fear every night you go to bed, like we're filming this at night now with the help of like out exterior lighting, but like we wouldn't be out here if we were living in the world of demon kind. So it's like incredibly believable that there would be a tight spiritual connection with like the past and people you've lost. Very interesting you bring that up, because now it's got me thinking about the importance of that first like few minutes of the movie where Gyomei, the stone Hashira, like we talked about at the top, maybe was just ore farming AF and in that giant like thousands of stone of tombstones for the passed on and killed members of the Demon Slayer Corp. I think it's important, something to think about, is like the power of those backstories. But I do like, more than the backstories, just getting an occasional like, if you're on the verge of death, like every single time they've all been on the verge of death. And like I think that's been consistently something that's really made me choke up throughout the years of watching Demon Slayer. It's like those are the most emotional moments to me. It's like, man, we got characters either about to die or maybe about to survive, but their loved ones are just like, man, keep it going, bro. And that's such an anime thing. It's like one of my favorite anime tropes is just like the sibling that passed away or the master who died in like his horrific way. It's just back to basically give you that last 5% push. You need to be 100% your best self. And again, it's the best part about this. I mean, you brought up the question, how I would throw it back at you. How do you feel about these moments where you get significant amount of time, not only with the backstory, but like they're sitting there in the moment with them, like Shinobu getting lifted by the ashes. You think she's finally killed Doma, but still isn't able to do it. But Zenitsu, on the other hand, he gets that little bit of extra time to lock in, and then he can do it because he sees Gramps, and he's like, I'm doing this for Gramps. Doing this for my boy.
I would say I have my qualms, obviously, about how it's executed in terms of these flashbacks or like these sudden appearances of dead characters giving a pep talk. But to your point, I think I do like the theme of, honoring the dead and like honoring family as well.
It's a big part about this entire series.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's something beautiful about that. And I definitely agree. Like when Gramps kind of shows up and tells Zenitsu, he's his pride and soul or whatever. Yeah. It is a powerful moment. So I like thematically what it represents. Execution,
pacing is always going to be an issue with that.
A little hit or miss with it, but yeah.
I mean, hey, we wouldn't have this entire series if Tanjiro didn't want to save his sis.
True. Yeah. So like the driving plot is still about kind of family, right?
It all comes back to family. It all comes back to Fast and Furious.
That's anime for you.
Hey, Fast and Furious is in its own right. It's got some anime vibes. You see him go to space in the last one? Crazy. Insane. But, we've been beating around the bush a little bit. Obviously, half of this movie, like Chris, even, I'm going to throw it over to you, Chris, that we talked about, half of this film is between three of our biggest characters, two of them that we began the entire series with, Tanjiro and Tomioka himself, the water Hashira. but they are here fighting their biggest op, our biggest op since the day that he took Rengoku away from us. Akaza makes an incredible appearance, and again, talking to the most powerful animation in this movie, the best music in my opinion in this movie, and the best story of the film comes between these three, and it's really their movie. And I would argue it's Akaza's film at the very end of this. I'm like, oh my God, I did not think this was going to be about one of the most hated characters in the Pantheon, but here we are, and I'm throwing it over to you, Chris, about your feeling about that, even as maybe it's not its own movie, but the plot point itself is huge, and it's a 2.5-hour film. This is like an hour and a half of the movie.
I'd say that's the most accessible part of the movie for me. As someone who, again, as a wide swath of it I have not seen, I just know that guy is like, super evil, super mega evil, and he's just a tank. I mean, he literally loses his head and tries, and like he's so powerful that he's regrowing it, and eventually he like wants to resist his regrowth. He's like, please, I just want to die, and then he just like keeps like hitting himself, and he's just regenerating. Like, that's crazy. Like the fact that he just like he has like this like crisis of conscience while his head is off. He literally doesn't have a head, and he's like thinking about his entire life, like with in that context, and like how he's like a troubled kid, and then he's taken in.
Yeah, shout out Hakuji.
And I did like that whole, again, you're talking about it's about family.
Yeah.
But like the fact that Akaza's like his like motivation like as a child is like, I need something like to care for.
Yeah.
And I did like that. I think I kind of enjoyed that, like that was his like big thing, is like, I'm just so used to it. I'm used to caring for the sick and like, healing them to health. I did it with my dad, even though it didn't work out for me.
And he was stealing, and he was doing all these crimes. Yeah, I mean, I like the little callback to his 3 stripes that make his character design so interesting and unique. Or they go back to like he's from the Edo area of Japan, and like that's how they mark crimes. And it's like you're obviously like this is how you, at least in that point in time, working your way as a criminal, like you couldn't hide it from people. Like if you had those stripes, like you were cooked. So he's obviously been trying to pickpocket and do things, but not just out of the pure evil doing. Like Doma seemed like an evil kid. That's the type of kid that you got to keep an eye on. But Hakuji was just like a product of his environment, and I love nothing more than a story of a bad guy who you thought was a terrible guy that just turned out he was a product of his environment.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think that's why that is the most accessible part. It's like I get it. Like he's lost every, like as a kid, those experiences, especially having it like twice, is like very formative. Like also you think like your fiance or like your wife,
welcome
like
home,
dies,
darling.
and I was like,
lost my shit.
Okay. And he doesn't know how it happened. That's the thing, is that I like that there's no like real like resolution for him. It's like he just goes around killing people, and he doesn't know who he's killing.
Yeah.
And at a certain point he forgets. I like the fact that he like, once Muzan gets a hold of him, and even before that, he has no idea why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just need to be stronger. And then he's like, why? And then it's like, okay, this is why. And then when he remembers why he was trying to do that in the first place, he's like, oh, I regret everything.
Hey, this was not a good idea. Talking about the other big movie of the year that has to do with demons and how the demons interact with their memories. Like a big part of K-pop Demon Hunters is like Gina's trying to like lose his memories. Like when you become when you become an upper moon or a demon, you forget who you were when you were a human.
Yeah.
If I'm correct on that. I got to go over to the manga expert. Do I get a nod?
I will just say Tyler Bowie, man, he had a great amount of shame in his past life. And he came back, and he had to learn it. He had to risk his life.
He had to risk his life
for
his girl.
But he came back in the form of Tyler Bowie. But that's pretty cool.
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day.
Go check out our K-pop Demon Hunters review.
Go check that one out. But no, I enjoyed that as like an arc, like as a movie that like I could definitely, you see that story from like the beginning and the end, which I liked. Again, I don't know how much backstory does he get any backstory in?
Kaza gets no backstory. Okay. He comes in. Maybe this is a question for you, Banton. I believe the first time you run to Akaza is in Mugen Train when he comes in. He's like, I gotta fight you, Rengoku, because you're obviously the most powerful person here. We find out in the backstory of the battle that his infinite ability, like infinite annihilation, such a crazy. You were cooking, mangaka. That was insane. But infinite annihilation and just generally like his ability to use that compass to like feel killing intent. Again, another moment where we flash back, but I was like, okay, thank God we got some of this backstory to give a bit of an explanation to why Akaza seems so unbeatable. If you're here to murder him, he will kill you back. You have no chance against him. And like you insinuate is like when we fast forward to Tanjiro finally getting the final quote unquote killing blow of getting him by the neck, which is like how you get all these demons except for Muzan. Like, it doesn't even work. He's trying to regrow that shit. I didn't even know that was possible outside of Muzan. So I mean, I'll throw it over to you too, because I don't think that is the first time we meet him in Mugen Train. We don't get any kind of backstory before this, so it's like just haterade since the beginning. It's like they make you want to hate him, and I hated this dude before we saw his really wonderful backstory.
Yeah, so I think you're right in that when we saw him in Mugen Train, there wasn't really any backstory to Akaza. It was just, here's this, big evil demon guy. But I will say, from what I've seen online, it seems like there were kind of sprinkles of his past
Throughout.
Yeah. So like with his power, that compass that you mentioned, it's like designed to be kind of like a snowflake, and that's
so cool.
A reference to his girlfriend or fiance, whose name is Koyuki in Japanese. That means like snow or something. Yeah.
I didn't know that. But I mean, aesthetically, the snowflake is extremely cool.
It's extremely cool, and there was kind of like a tie-in or like a hint to his backstory. I don't know if that was kind of intentional from the jump, but to see that connection, I think it is really cool, and kind of shows that it was kind of sprinkled throughout the series, at least from when we were introduced to Akaza.
I don't know if it was the end of season 3 or season 4 where you got like the big meeting between all of the upper moons. Or maybe it was at the end of everything that happened in the entertainment district. But Akaza has always kind of been the one demon where I'm like, I don't think he's going to turn, but like I think he's probably the one that's most susceptible to like having most of his human emotions left. And that's not something that really clicked until this movie, obviously. But like you have bits and pieces. I'm like, is he going to be the guy that turns? I'm just so happy he didn't like turn back to being human. And like that was like the cop out. Like it's the way his story ends is perfect. Like I already up there for some of the best anime villains of all time that I've seen, limited stuff I've seen. I'm like, he goes up there. But I think there's a little bit more to talk about with his backstory in particular, especially with his wife and his pseudo dad and his wife's dad, and who's the head of the dojo, voiced by Channing Tatum. That's the guy who's voiced by Channing Tatum in the dub, which is great. But I got to talk with you, Banton, in particular. It's been building up this whole time. When Tanjiro yells Akaza at the top of his lungs, man, I lost my shit. I was like, the IMAX theater bumping. I was like, this is what we've been waiting for. And we get Tomioka awakening his scar, or not his scar, but his demon slayer mark, his Hashira mark, I believe is what it's probably called. But they just went demon mode, and that's like some of the best animation I've ever seen in my life, is that fight that happens between those two.
Yeah. I mean, that fight, I mean, what can I say?
What can we say?
It's just really well animated. I will say Tanjiro kind of pissed me off during the fight.
Hey, talk about it. Hey, we had some groans in the crowd. For sure.
So to give some context, I've watched the movie twice, and like kind of halfway through the fight, both times I was starting to doze off. And
it's a long ass movie.
It is a very long movie, but
2.5's a lot.
What woke me up was when Tanjiro is behind Akaza, ready for the sneak attack, and Giyu's like just slashed the dude's head.
Yeah.
And Tanjiro
he's like thinking it too. He's not saying shit. Because Akaza's like talking about all this stuff. He's giving his like monologue, his villain monologue.
Right. And then Tanjiro proceeds to scream at the top of his lungs, "I'm gonna slice your head off."
Akaza!
That pissed me off so much.
I do have to say, in defense of that moment, because I got to defend that moment, mixed together with him and us discovering the transparent world. Oh my God. I'm sorry. What the transparent world existing. It didn't even matter that he yelled, because he's like, oh, I got everything in my, Akaza's like, everything in my body's telling me I got to take Tanjiro out right now. Some classic anime shit is like what changed in this dude's body. He's got his marks glowing. His hair is on fire. Like, he is going crazy. And this guy's like, I got to murder him. And then within a split second, even though he announced to the world in Akaza that he was going to kill him, still pulls it off in one of the most epic payoffs I've seen in any anime I've ever. But I mean, maybe more of a specific question for you, Chris. What do you think about the transparent world? I mean, that's something obviously new to us. You knew about it from the manga, but I didn't think that was going to be what kind of differentiated Tanjiro from the rest of the Hashira. He's not even officially a Hashira yet, like at all. They're like, maybe you could be, but there you go. OP as hell.
Yeah, that was truly OP. Like, I really didn't know how to react to it. It was like, yeah, he just went like Super Saiyan God mode.
It was Super Saiyan mode
type of thing. I'm just like, yeah, he's like, wait, he's into something different. Like, what is this? Like, what is he even doing? Like, he become, yeah, like because they just kind of explained the transparent world like right there. I was like, okay, like how
his dad kills the bear with 2 swipes. I'm like, who is
that's
this
true.
guy?
Yeah, and
this guy's supposed to be sick as hell.
Because he's like, the dad is like, the key is like you didn't want to kill him, sort of thing. I think that's the whole thing. Like you didn't have killing intent, sort of thing. Like the whole like protection instinct. I think maybe it's kind of what that's about. But yeah, the whole thing. I thought the killing intent thing was pretty interesting. Like if you really want to murder him, you just can't because it'll just get faster and faster. But then if you're like, you know what? You're a cool guy, but I'll slash you anyways, kind of type of thing. I thought he
smiled at me as I killed him.
Yeah,
type shit. He was grateful.
But then the whole thing, I'm gonna slice your head off, and then you go transparent. I forgot exactly what the order of events there was, but I was like, okay.
Well, Tanjiro has a very infamous way of interacting with the demons that he kills. Like he cradles like the heads, and he's like, "You're all good, bro. Just like let it go. Like I'm sorry I had to kill you." I mean, if there was anyone who wasn't going to have any kind of killing intent throughout this movie, it was going to end up being Tanjiro. That's been lining up for many seasons now. He feels bad for these demons, but he's like, if I see you, it's on sight. You're done. You're done here, man. I got my sword. But man, shout out Akaza, shout out all 3 of these guys. Crazy Tomioka was like, I think I just got passed up by the guy I was mentoring 3 years ago. Like Tanjiro's jump is insane. Maybe the last note that I want to kind of bring this whole insane recording that we've been going through today, because there's been a lot to talk about.
Yes.
A lot of mosquitoes, a lot of stuff to prep for bed tonight. We got to watch the Mariners game. But kind of the end of Akaza's story, the end of the movie, and kind of what brings us into inevitably what's going to be part 2 here in a couple years. I really did feel the tears welling up. I did not think I was going to feel that way about Akaza. If we're going to rank backstory, because I got 2 questions for y'all, whoever wants to answer it. If we're going to rank backstory, where are we putting Akaza's backstory for this film, or maybe all of Demon Slayer, maybe more specifically for Banton? And then maybe something I got to ask either of you, or I'll give my opinion on this as well. How do we kind of feel about the pacing of this movie for being 2.5 hours long? I did feel like the biggest criticism I had of the movie is that even though I loved Akaza backstory, probably my favorite demon backstory we've ever gotten, that shit was too long, felt like an episode. And I was like, this is when it started feeling back like a television show. Like I would have liked to have sat down, watched that, concentrated, and within the 25 minutes it would have aired on TV. But at that point, it's like, you've asked me to watch 2 hours of really great animation, but my eyes are tired. I'm parched. I didn't get popcorn or soda before watching, so maybe I should have. Like I'm getting right now from talking for almost 2 hours today with Chris. I'm like, you just get tired. Even if you like what's happening on the screen, you just get tired. So throw it over to you, Ben.
Yeah, I'd say in a vacuum, Akaza's backstory is probably my favorite within the movie. Like you said, I think it's well done, but it kind of drags on, especially like where it's placed in the movie. We already sat through 2 hours of the film only for the last 30 minutes or so to be one giant backstory. I think it could have been maybe placed better. I don't know how. Maybe you cut it up a little bit and like spread it throughout the movie or throughout the fight. So in terms of execution, not my favorite, but I think as a story, I would agree that it's probably my favorite. If I had to kind of consider execution, the backstories associated with the Zenitsu fight is probably my favorite. I think that fight in general is just, neat and to the point. And I thought it was kind of the cleanest fight because of that. And then that kind of leaves, Shinobu's backstory and Doma's as kind of my least favorite. It didn't really hit. And I don't know what I was expecting with that fight, but I thought it would be completed within this movie. So for it to kind of be like halfway done and then we'll address the rest, in presumably part 2, I thought was a little weird, but I mean, I get it. You can't pack everything in a 2.5 hour movie as it is. So yeah. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think I'm totally in agreement with everything that you said. I did like the fact that, the Zenitsu is a nice package. It's like, this is like a personal relationship. Like, these two know each other. It's like, oh, we were supposed to be like co-successors together. And now it's like you went full demon, and now like that's not good. That's not good. You never go full demon. I did like that. And I agree. Like that first fight, I did not like. I was like, I was checking the watch. I was like, okay, we're about 2.5 hours through, and I was like, so he absorbs the one lady, and then we got the next lady, and I'm like, that's it? We're gonna like leave it right there? I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, the first fight was cool, but again, like it just leaves that fight completely for basically like the rest of the runtime for like an hour and 45 minutes, returns to it, and they really haven't done anything. They're just kind of like facing off against each other, you know, like the whole like, you know, he just inhaled her, which is still wild. Like the fact that happened, right. But yeah, again, like the pacing is really, it's really all over the place, but I would rank it exactly how you ranked it, I would say.
Incredible, because same here. It's a very, I think, kind of, for me, maybe more so like close between Zenitsu, and it's impossible to kind of compare anything to how long and as much effort went to the set pieces for the Akaza versus Tomioka and Tanjiro fight. But I think we got a lot of payoff, a lot of good plot, like progression. I mean, that's one of the things here is like, I know sometimes people with anime is just like, damn, this plot has not moved on a whole lot. And something that I know that's what Demon Slayer sometimes suffers from, especially like in the last couple seasons we've gotten. I know it's have been not low points. I mean, there have been peaks, but it's tough to stretch out some of those pages of the manga into like a full season of television, which again, I think plays into what makes this movie so good at the end of the day, and kind of fits the Demon Slayer. If there was any of the popular manga to be adapted to just straight a movie, it's Demon Slayer. So that brings us to the very end. Welcome home, darling. Again, I gotta say, man, fuck. I was a wreck. I was a wreck the first time that happened. I was like, man, you go home, Hakuji. You figure your way home. She's like, yeah, I'll go to hell with you. That's the vibe I got with the fire at the very end. I was like, that was sick. But yeah, we're left with both of them. I'm like, are they okay? Like, Tomioka and Tanjiro are like passed out. Their crows are like, please don't die. Even the annoying Tanjiro crow who hates him. It's like, man, that got me. I was like, I didn't think I'd be pro crow at the end of this, but I'm like, damn, I'm pro crow. Man, that's just where I'm at the end of a long day of recording. But I do have to throw it up, both of you. Maybe we'll start with Banton as our guest. Both, how are you feeling going into the next film, whether or not it's called Part 2 or another thing? I got to wait 2 years for it. And then maybe your final rating for Demon Slayer Infinity Castle Part 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what to expect with Part 2. I just know it's going to be a good time, and I'm sure we'll all link up and watch together. So I want to be consistent, though. How do you guys usually rate? Is it like out of 5?
Out of 5.
Okay. This might be a hot take, but I'd give it like a 3 out of 5.
Whoa! Okay, spicy. You heard it here first. We're going to have some different opinions on here at the end. Cool.
So, yeah, I would say, like, as we've kind of talked about throughout this podcast, like the backstories and the flashbacks really hold it back, I think, especially in terms of pacing. And we've seen this a lot, I think, in recent years where it like movies aren't always kind of a good standalone film.
Yeah.
Because there's more to come. Like the story isn't finished. So as a standalone film, I'm like, I don't know how to rate it.
Yeah.
And
it's difficult.
It's difficult,
especially when
sure.
there have been so many versions of it that come out as like a serialized television show.
Right.
So,
and I think the way that they kind of like put together the film, you could kind of clearly see where, like, if they were to like cut it up into like a season, where each episode starts and finishes. So, yeah, I would say my biggest criticism is kind of the flow and the pacing of the film. But even though I rated it like a 3 out of 5, I want to emphasize like the animation, the music, and just the art in general. Like, it's still top tier. Like, you probably won't find any animation better within anime,
especially in a movie form, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's like the highs are insanely high, but the lows to me like does kind of hold it back. But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, then we'll throw it right over to ask the same question to Chris.
Yeah, if they don't, you're talking about what they'd call the second one. If it's not Demon Slayer Slay with a bunch of Ys, I don't think I'm going to watch it.
2 or more Ys.
Yeah, I don't think so. I would give it, interestingly, I was not expecting you to give it a 3 out of 5.
Same. Hey, we get spicy takes here.
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I would say just as a movie, because you were talking about it's hard to like grade as a movie. That's kind of the only way that I can. And I would say again, yeah, pacing a huge issue. But I think the fights, like when they're happening, are very cool, and like you get really hyped up when you see them. And again, the backstory at the end was not something I was expecting to see. So I would say, like, just as like a standalone movie, it was a cool experience. But yeah, there are those moments where it just hangs, and like I could have easily been the guy two seats down from me that fell asleep at a certain point, because there are some things where I'm just like, I don't know the character relationships, and I just kind of don't understand what's happening here, and like how much of this do I really need to pay attention to like get the whole thing? Because it was like, you know, they do all that stuff where like they talk about like life lessons and stuff, and you know, in the beginning they're like doing kind of like your dad talking to your son, you know, like, oh, always treat people right. It's about, you know, like the, you know,
the father figures are crazy. I mean, because they don't really, like, for the most part, lead them astray. All the dads are kind of chads. Like, they're all kind of cool.
Kind of chads.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Hakuji.
yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable experience.
Amazing. Well, I mean, it's probably no surprise here, but I'm giving it 4.5.
6 out of, I thought I was
I'm
gonna
giving it
say
a
6
7
out of
5. 4.5. We're gonna go Akaza's out of 5. Hakuji's. I really just, man, did this live up to every expectation that I had in particular? I mean, I think we all kind of agree on similar strengths, but where I just kind of like have to center in, I was like, man, I've sat through those My Hero movies. I love My Hero, but man, you know, I've sat through those movies. There are certain things that, like, outside of the pantheon of like specific Miyazaki films, Ghibli films, I think we've talked about things like Summer Wars and the first Slam Dunk. There's so much anime happening, anime everywhere. But you know, there are certain types of films that come from like the series themselves that just don't live up to it. I just specifically think about My Hero. Love that show, but man, does it have its problems. But I just don't think Demon Slayer suffers from the same things. And like I said at the very top, like, this movie landed in the place that I was hoping it would and exceeded my expectations. I mean, again, like, I think I'm particularly high on the music. The backstories, again, like that one part is at the very end. I did kind of feel like, again, in another life, my backstory would have been falling asleep. And that just would have been like, it was just too much. You're asking too much out of me. So I really hope, if I had one suggestion to make to someone making this movie who probably will not be watching it, but if you are, just a little shorter. We're talking like maybe a little over 2 hours would just be just spot on perfect. But yeah, all the backstories hit. We got great payoffs for years and years of buildup that I've been looking forward to in particular. And I mean, for the most part, it seems like people really love this. So I would hope that they're just going to really double down. Now, my one fear, I do have to say, even though I'm feeling this is a 4.5 out of 5, I'm waiting for that 5 out of 5. I need the perfect version of the next film to come out. And my biggest fear is that we're going to get Deathly Hallowed. We're going to get a part 1, part 2 of the final movie. It happened with Attack on Titan, sir. You know about this. Like, that shit came out and you're like, man, we got part 1 and part 2 of season 4, part 3. I'm sick of it. We have to stop this. All right. Just commit to making it another season or another movie. So that's my biggest fear, is that we're just going to keep stretching this out. And I really hope it doesn't, because it's kept it tight enough. And I think if you make it even tighter, it's like a perfect film. Yeah, for anime, at least.
I think they have confirmed it's a trilogy. So
good.
Hopefully, you know, your biggest fear
part 1, part 4, part 5.
Yeah.
My biggest fears come to fruition. But my people watching this and sticking with us to the very end of this episode of Pinoys versus the World, thank you. And thank you to our friend of the pod, Banton Luu. I'm sure we'll be having you back on for the next pod for anime, or maybe non-anime, but particularly we got to have you on for Chainsaw Man. That's going to be a fun one to chat about in a couple months here. Shit, maybe in a month. My God, it's the end of September. Well, happy fall, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us through this episode. As always, executively produced by Jonas Hilseth. A very particular thank you to him.
Yeah. And edited to hell by Jonas Hilseth, I will say.
Yeah, we're going to have to start including that. Both EP and editor, Jonas Hilseth, killing it in this episode today. Thank you, Jonas. And as always, subscribe and like and stick with us for a very busy fall here for movies. But I'm going to end this episode of Pinoys versus the World same way I always do, by saying, my name is Haruo Hilseth.
My name is Chris Ankiko.
And I'm Banton Luu.
And we will talk with you in the next episode. Thanks again for watching. Peace.